What's up guys, welcome back, and I'm here with another Flutter video, and this time we are gonna talk about Flutter 1.22 which just got released. And you might be wondering, right, that I made a video on Flutter 1.20 just 2 months back, and many of the users might not have even migrated, but that's fine because changes are good, right? And especially when it comes of good changes and good features which a lot of people were expecting. So yeah, that's what happened with Flutter 1.22. So there are around 20 plus big changes which happened, which I'm gonna talk about in this video. But if you want to just have a summary, then I can also say that Flutter now supports iOS 14 as well as Android 11, so you don't have to face any issue with those. So yeah, if you are interested in knowing more, then please continue with this video. So now we'll talk about each and everything, but before that, the first thing which I want to say is that they have closed around 3,000 plus issues in just a span of 2 months, which is a huge thing. And there has been like long list of contributors, around 200 or something, and they have merged like 1900 plus PRs. So that's a good thing, and most of the contributors are from the community, so that's again a plus point. Now let's talk about all the 20 plus things. So we'll start with the first thing, which is iOS 14, obviously. So iOS 14 has been here for a while now, because like it was in beta, so I have been playing with it in beta as well, and then I was playing with Flutter master channel as well. So yeah, there were many issues initially, so they have fixed most of them. So if I'll talk about issues, so first of all, Xcode 12 is there now. So if you have already upgraded to as Xcode 12, then you might face issue with the existing Flutter stable version which you have been using. So you have to migrate to 1.22 so that you don't face any issue. And by default now iOS the version should be 9.0, so that is also being enabled by default with Flutter 1.22. And then they fixed so many crash issues which were happening, like there were some physical device related crash issues, more of them were there. So they have fixed that. And then there was issue with the clipboard, like there's new thing, like you get a new notification with iOS devices when you copy and paste. So when we were using text field in iOS 14 devices, that then this pop-up was keep coming, so that has been fixed. And then there was some debugging issues which were happening, and they have fixed that. Like now you have to just have a dialog, and you have to press that you allow that this is for local network, and there has been change in the networking AIs of iOS, so those are also fixed. So second big thing which I'm gonna talk about is app clips. So you know that iOS 14 introduced app clips, which is nothing but very much similar to what instant apps were in Android. So they now support it. It's in a very early phase, it's in a preview phase, but if you want to check it out, I have also made a video on it, and it got published like 1 week ago or something, so you can check it out. Again, it's in a very experimental phase, and the app size should be less than 10 MB, so that's why it makes sense to have app clips. And yeah, just if you want to play with it, just go ahead. So third thing is that now Flutter supports all the SF symbols which was introduced with this iOS 14, and they're really good kind of symbol or icons, you can say. So the Cupertino package which we used to have, right, 0.20 some version, which was there for a long time now it has reached to 1.00 directly, and that's a good thing. And they have added around 900 plus icons, which is again a huge number of icons, right? So that's there. And fourth feature which we'll talk about is Android 11, right? So in Android 11 is also announced in a stable version is there now, and there has been a lot of changes obviously with the security and all that stuff, so you don't have to worry about those if you're using Flutter. So what has changed? So the first thing which has changed is now Flutter better supports, the notch kind of top and bottom. If there's a notch, then it supports better. And now many devices comes with a hole punch, whole camera punch, right? So it supports that as well. And then there are waterfall edges, so that has been supported as well. So that's the first thing. The fifth feature which I'm gonna talk about is keyboard issues. Like there was some animation sync issues with the Android keyboards with Android 11 and Android 10, so they have fixed it finally in Android 11. So yeah, you can go ahead. And then the sixth feature which I'm gonna talk about is with Android embedding APIs version 2. So what exactly happened was last year I think they introduced this Android embedding version 2. I am using in one of my apps as well, and now I think this has been deployed in every other pack plugin which is there. So version 2 is now kind of by default you're gonna get it, and if you are using version 1 in your projects, then you are gonna get a warning. I was also getting warning in one of my project, so now I have finally migrated, and the warning is gone, so it's deprecated. So it's better if you move to Android embedding version 2. So another seventh feature which we are gonna talk about is new buttons. So material design is keep evolving with each day, and now Flutter has introduced new set of buttons which you can use, which are highly customizable. Those are like text buttons, outline button, elevated button. So yeah, there are a lot of customizations, and I was expecting this to happen because I was playing with Jetpack Compose as well, and there I saw text button. Yeah, you can still use the old ones, but these new ones are also very good. So another feature or another thing which is now improved is internationalization and localization support, which is a very plus point if you want to support your application in multiple languages, and this has been improved a lot, so you can check it out. And guys, I'm gonna make few more videos probably with all these things in the future. So I'm just gonna explain all the features in a very short summarized way. So next feature I want to talk about is character support improvement. So basically there was a problem with let's say text field. If you set max length and if you are using a unique code or emoji kind of stuff, right, then the calculation were wrong. So there was a package for this, like a character package, right? So you could use that, but now it comes by default and it solves that problem. So yeah, that has been done. So 10th thing, which is very important and many people were waiting for it, is Google Maps and Webview support in stable mode, or you can say now you can use it in production. Both have crossed 1.0 versions, and that's a good thing. So platform view is now very stable, and this new platform view is kind of being used now with all these plugins, and you can use them. So basically you have to there's a preview flag which you can enable by default. It's not there, so you can, if you want to play with new platform view, then you can do that. But yes, if you are wondering to use this Google Maps plugin or Webview plugin in your production apps, then go ahead and use that. Now another biggest update, or I won't say just an update, but it's a new feature itself. So Navigator 2.0. So if you were using Navigator 1.0, so we used to do push pop, right? All of that is good, but technically everything is hidden from us. Like you cannot see how many pages are in this stack, right, and what's happening exactly. And if you want to push multiple pages or pop multiple pages, then it becomes again a problem, right? And then when you want to support web, right, and there is a routing routing API which you have to somehow make possible, which can help easily to navigate with different pages, right? And then maybe if you want to use deep linking, then also it is kind of crucial. So to fix all of these things, or to make it more effective for all the platforms, they have introduced Navigator 2.0, which is like, it's not like you have to use it if you're happy with Navigator 1.0, you can still use it, but Navigator 2.0 is the way to go. So what's new there is that it has a new set of properties which you get, the 1.0 was kind of imperative style which they were using, right? This is more declarative, like the Flutterer style kind of you can say. So they have now page property, they have router was still there. Now you have router information parser, which you can use to parse all the objects, and router delegation and back button dispatcher is added. So yeah, I'll make a separate video definitely for Navigator 2.0, so keep watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, then subscribe right now if you want to see those updates. 12th feature, again very big thing, state restorations. So I know like this particular feature was I think in GitHub issues since 2016, since the very first day when probably I started Flutter. And I know many of the Android engineers which like they were not using Flutter because of this particular reason. So what happens, you know about Android, right? There are a lot of resources which needs to be released when there are a lot of application. So Android kind of kills your app in the background, and sometimes when it is not being used, and then it notifies you, the OS notifies you that okay, we are killing your app. If you want to save the state of your UI, then you can do it right now. And Flutter does not used to support that because they needed a framework support for that, and it was not that easy, right? But the good news is that now it is in preview, and it is now being supported, so you can definitely use it. So if you want to test with it, you can just go to developer mode and you can just disable don't keep activities, and yes, boom, you can just test it like by just minimizing the app and going back. So that's a really good addition, but it needs more work, because see, other plugins or other not plugins but widgets have to use it. Let's say list view uses it right now, scroll view uses it, so it keeps the position and all those things, but all other widgets need to use it. So you have to use restoration mix-in, and there is a restoration bucket or storage bucket which you get when you are using that mix-in, and then you can use that bucket to get all the values and you can save them somewhere. So yeah, that's a really good addition, and I hope that many more Android engineers will also now come back to Flutter and try it more. So that's a great addition, by the way. Now coming to the 13th feature, right? So that's about smooth scrolling, again in preview, which you can enable by adding a flag. So you will go to your main dot, you will add gesture winding dot instant dot this resampling enabled flag. And what it will do, basically what was the issue, let's say if you are using a Pixel 4 device, so the input was like 120 hertz and the display rate of a Pixel, I have a Pixel device right here, so it has like 90 hertz refresh rate. So there was some problem with the scrolling because of this, so they have fixed it. So it's again in previews, you can enable the flag if you want. So yeah, that's pretty much it. 14th thing is Dart CLI is now real. So yes, you can use Dart CLI. So you might have set your Flutter path already, right? So now you can use, like you use Flutter doctor, something like that, right? For Dart you will use the same thing, like Dart help, Dart Dart format, Dart analyzer, something like that. So other things like which tools are there, like Dart format is there, Dart analyzer is there, they will be included in this Dart CLI itself, and they will be removed separately from like how we use it. So Dart CLI is definitely a good addition, and keep like checking what's happening with these all tools. Talking about tools, 15th feature is another tool, which is app size analyzer tool. So now you can analyze your like app sizes, what's taking a lot of memory, what is the size of the engine, how it is being divided, and you can use Devtools to use it properly. Like you can see all the things in blocks, and you have to use another flag like dash analyze dash flag or dash size flag. So yeah, this is kind of a great addition again as a tool. Now coming to 16 is again my favorite, one of my favorite, it is network page. So last time when I talked about 1.20, I talked about this network page. There was one thing missing, that was we were not used to get response, just request was there, and searching and filtering was not also possible. So they have added that, they have fixed that. So you can use Devtools and you can go to network page and you can see your request response, and you can search and filter with them. You don't have to use logs, a lot of logs for these things, and any ID or code that you are using, it's pretty like pretty easy to get used to this. And this looks really neat, as well as it is really very helpful. So +1 from my side for this particular thing. 17th feature is DevTools inspector. So you might be seeing in Intellij, right, there was a Flutter inspector, and then DevTools there is another inspector, and both are different, and maintaining them is kind of tough. So they have now now you can embed that DevTool from or the inspector from DevTool to directly Intellij, and that's a good thing. And you can also use Layout Explorer, which is another addition, so you should definitely check it out. The another 18th feature is output linking in VSCode. It looks small, but it's a big thing, because in the output console, right, if there is a bug, you cannot go inside that bug, like you cannot click it and it will not open it in the editor. So that's now being added to VSCode, which I'm definitely gonna use, because it will help a lot, like especially if you are like heavily using VS Code. So that's good. 19th is again the same thing. Windows support has been added in alpha, so you can test it out. Like it's not a part of 1.22, but yeah, it's there in alpha. So if you go to master channel, you can check and you can try to make your first Windows app with Flutter. So that's a good addition. And the last one is Dart 2.10, so which is now released with the 1.22. So what it has is like mostly it's about Dart tool itself, and then they have improved null safety feature. So basically, if you are thinking about enabling null safety in your app in the future, then there has been a lot of improvements. Plus they have now released a timeline that what is gonna happen and how things will uncover. So Flutter will like support null safety now in an experimental flag in 1 month or something. So if you are someone who wants to experiment with it, then there will be time, then you can see, then it will go to beta, and then finally it will be released. So yeah, that's it guys. Like these were all the updates which I could bring for you with Flutter 1.22. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then press the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not the subscriber already, and also press the bell icon to get future updates. And check out my other videos to know more about Flutter and learn Flutter. So thanks for watching, bye bye, and I'll see you in the next video.